Introduce yourself. Tell us either if you're working with us for nutrition or one thing that you're focusing on or would like to focus on.
All right. And you can't hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, great. Excellent. Okay, so I'm not currently working with you guys on the nutrition side. I think it's just, it's about cutting out a lot of the stuff, a lot of the heavy stuff I eat every once in a while, and also getting back in a routine of eating consistently. So one of the things that happens to me is that, I get busy during the day and then I don't eat lunch, and then I will consume a lot of food after work because I just haven't eaten all day. So I'd like to get away from that, and that's what I'm really working on. So
awesome.
Nice.
Cool. Thanks for sharing. Okay, Dusty, you want to go?
Yeah, so I'm Dusty. Hi. I actually just started working with Megan, I think it started yesterday.
Yeah.
Me too. So far, so good.
Awesome.
Good.
And then Sonia, you want to go?
Hello.
Hey.
I've been working with Tiersa on the nutrition side since February, and it's been awesome. I just saw my pictures that were uploaded, and it's crazy change. So I've lost, more than 20 pounds, and so my husband's listening. And then what I'm focusing on right now is to just be a little bit more strict on my eating because I've done it pretty laxy so far. So I'm getting to the point where it's not working as much. But so not eating enough is not my issue.
Mine either.
Yeah, I'm having a pretty big meal right now. So
yeah, and she has, I've told a lot of my clients this before, but your journey isn't linear. There's going to be ups and downs, vacations, things that come up, stress levels, everything that changes. And so not beating yourself up, but getting back on the horse and just go back to those same habits that we had set from the get-go. In fact, I had one of my nutrition clients reach out to me today, and she's like, what's the best remedy to getting back from vacation, cleansing and detoxing? What do you recommend to cleanse and detox? Yep. And I said, I don't. I actually suggest you just get right back to what you were doing before and don't worry about those extremes. And we're going to talk about why those aren't good. And just get back to those daily habits that you were doing before. That's what I do. I just get back to tracking because as I'm vacationing and stuff, I don't track my food. And the thing that works for me the most is that accountability of tracking and seeing it in my FitnessPal. And so that's what we recommend.
Yep.
Okay, Kimberly.
Sorry, it took me a second to figure out how to unmute. I'm not doing, well, that's not true. I do a little bit of nutrition here and there, but I would guess that my biggest focus since starting is I was one of those people not eating enough. Being a dancer, everything was really strict and you had to stay a certain size all the time. And it has been really eye-opening to be able to eat more food and still lose % body fat.
And increase muscle.
Yep.
Because that's
Yes.
what you're doing.
Yeah.
I was just going to say an increased muscle, though. If I'm perfectly honest, that was a little shock to the system. I was like, wait, the scale's going up, but how can the %? I don't know. I'm a little confused, but it was awesome. So I'm getting better.
Good. Thanks for sharing. All right, Angela.
Hi, sorry, I'm cleaning up after dinner too, and Carlos is in the background watching his show, so it's gonna be a little noisy here. I've been working with Megan, and I just basically wanted to lose some body fat and gain more muscle, and I just want to listen in to see what works, what doesn't work.
Awesome. All right, Brittany.
Hi, I just started today and I'm super excited. I guess knowledge is power. That's probably why I'm here. You get to the more you learn, the more you can use in your daily life. And I'm just excited to hear what you guys have to say.
Awesome. Thanks for joining us. We're really, really excited to be helping you and working with you.
Yep.
She just started today, guys. Brand new. She's a newbie. All right, Katie.
Hi, I just started working with Tiersa. And like Kimberly, I too I've been a dancer my whole life, and restrictions, and so eating enough is a huge thing for me. I definitely don't eat enough, so I am trying to fix that.
Yep. So you guys are kind of hearing a common theme throughout this. And this is why we're talking about this, because it is super common with the people that we work with and the people that we meet in general, and even with myself.
Same. Yep.
So that's why we're talking about this tonight, to kind of kickstart that topic and help you guys understand that it is a little bit scary, and I attest to that. But it's the only way to reach your goal is to fuel your metabolism. So we're going to talk more about that in a minute. All right, we got 3 more people. Claudia.
Hi, can you guys hear me? I got some.
Yep.
For me, I guess it's just learning to know how to balance my meals throughout the day. Like during the work week, I feel like I do a good job of, eating enough, but I still feel like I'm maybe eating a little less than I'm used to. So I do find myself by the time I come home being more hungry than I feel like I should be. So then I'll overeat at night. So just knowing how to, what's the right balance there between the going during the day, and then on the weekends, it's more of a struggle, because that regiment that I have during the week I'll stray away from that. So it's not an issue of not eating enough. I think it's just knowing how to balance it, so it's not all heavy on one end of the day.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks for sharing. Chris, do you have anything you want to share?
Nothing comes to mind. I definitely am not an undereater, but maybe I am on protein sometimes. So, if there's any I'm undereating on it, I would say it's protein.
Cool. Yep. And Jacqueline.
Hey, sorry, I think I missed the first part. Was the question, sorry.
You're currently working with us, and what your main nutrition focus is right now.
So I started with Tiersa about 3 weeks ago, I think it is now. Basically, I wanted to get stronger, lose some body fat. So far it's been really good. Before, kind of for like a year or so, I was pretty decent about eating. I just wasn't sure exactly how much of what I should be eating. So now it's good because I know exactly what I need to do throughout the day. And I definitely learned that I was not eating enough. So it's been great. It's been really good. I like it. I definitely feel more energy in the workouts. I don't feel, faint or anything like that. So it's been a really good process.
That's awesome.
It's good.
Well, we hopefully haven't missed anyone, but we are super excited to be helping you guys. And if you're not working with us currently, I know, Brock, I still need to sit down with you and do your scan. So we'll get that scheduled. So tonight, what we're talking about, can everybody see my screen? Chris, you got to give me feedback here.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So thank you. So tonight, what we're going to be talking about, like I said, is 3 signs that you are eating too little. So again, thanks for joining us. And a lot of you guys know this already, but just to reiterate it, the number one goal of what we do here is we believe in a habit-based approach when we talk about nutrition, which supports a lifestyle change, not a quick fix. And that's going to keep the habits you're learning now with you for the rest of your life. You don't ever have to try another diet. You don't ever have to wonder what's going to work, because we're going to teach you those things now so that you can carry them through, any situation moving forward. So that's our number one goal here. So we're going to start off, I'm going to start off with a story for you. You know, some of you guys are currently working with me, and those that are know if you're under eating already, because I've probably already told you that. So one person in particular that I'm not going to share names, but I met with one person in particular recently, and she wondered, so she's been tracking macros and she has been working out, and nothing is changing. And she's not been doing it for like a few weeks or a few months. She's been doing it for like years. Like, she hasn't seen any changes in about 18 months, and she is putting in the work. She's working out 4 days a week. She's eating, like when she told me the things she's eating throughout the day, it was really apparent to me that she's under eating, but to her, you know, she didn't know. And what has happened is, even though she's tracking macros and she's putting it in MyFitnessPal, it has created this fear, this phobia behind food for her, where she's afraid because anything she eats, she feels like she's putting weight on. And she is putting weight on, because what happens when we undereat is our metabolism starts to slow down and it's no longer working for us. And this is something that I've experienced in my own life. So a little backstory about me is, before I started teaching nutrition, I did go to school for nutrition, but I didn't teach it to others for probably, what?
Oh,
okay. Oh, I don't know how to switch that. Oh, okay. My 15-year-old is gonna help me. I want that to show. I want it to flip flop. Oh, click on that. Nope.
You just said to click on that.
I know.
Yeah,
But
speaker notes.
I know.
Then
I
maybe
want this to
reload it.
show. Sorry, guys. I don't usually have this problem.
You wanted that to show?
Well, I know it's good, but now I can't see my notes.
Yeah.
And now my notes are gone. Okay, well, I'm just going to keep talking.
Yeah.
And then we'll kind of flip flop back and forth.
Yeah.
So anyways, before I actually taught nutrition, I did go to school for nutrition, but I didn't utilize it for other people until probably 2015, maybe, because I was having babies and like being at home and doing all that. And so what had happened is, over time, every time I would have a baby, I would want to lose the weight as fast as possible, because I didn't like being heavy for me. And so as soon as I was done nursing, I would crash diet. So I would try, you know, I've tried it all, and we'll talk a little bit about that. But I would severely cut my calories to drop the baby weight, and it was miserable. I was not happy. I was hungry. I ate really, really bland food. And I did that through 4 pregnancies. And after my last pregnancy, I had twins, and I was able to lose the weight pretty fast. But then after I got done nursing, I had about 10 pounds I couldn't lose. And this was right when I was starting CrossFit, right around the same time. It was actually right before I started CrossFitting. And so I crash dieted again. And what happened is, once I started CrossFitting, I was really hungry and I wanted to eat. And I didn't know how to find that balance of like being hungry to support the food that or the exercise I was doing, but also still keep the weight off. And so I yo-yoed, and I thought about, in fact, I was just telling somebody this story today. I thought about food and my body image and the way I looked 95% of the day, like all the time. And I remember one day in particular telling Chris, I don't feel like this is normal, but I don't know why, but I think about it all the time, and this is really unhealthy. And I was afraid of food at the same thing. I was like a very all or nothing mentality, couldn't get away from like binging and then super, super restrictive back and forth. And what had happened is it had really messed up my metabolism to a point where it wasn't working for me anymore. And I felt like if I went out to eat or ate a large meal, I would gain 5 pounds, and it would be really hard for that to go away. And so I had gotten to a point where even though I knew a lot, I didn't know how to apply it well. And some of you guys are kind of in the same boat. You may know a lot of nutrition information, but you're not sure how to apply it. And so I hired a nutrition coach, and I hired her for about 4 months, 5 months, maybe. Actually, maybe it was longer. I can't remember. Anyways, and it allowed me to take the pressure off and put it on someone else and just be okay. Just do what they said and be okay with the results because they told me to do it. And it worked. And it not only did it work, but it helped me to understand that I don't ever have to try another diet. And I have never tried another diet since then because now I know it works. And now I've learned my body well enough that I can manipulate things and know what works best for me, not just like in losing body fat, but also being able to perform well in the gym. That's super important to me. And I know that's super important to Megan. And so this is why this is such an important topic to me. I want to share with you guys that it's not about cutting calories. It's about giving your body the right fuel that you need so that you can perform well, so that you have energy throughout the day to be with your kids. And so you're not thinking about food 90% of the day, because you shouldn't be. Food is fuel. That's it. I want to be able to have things in my home and not feel like I have to eat them. Like currently at this moment, I have rolls on my counter that are not a temptation to me because I ate my dinner and I feel good about that. I have pancakes over here that my kids made for dinner. And I actually have Carmelita bars in that box over there. Like I have stuff in here and I do have those things, but they're not quite the temptation that they used to be because I now have a much healthier relationship with food. And so I no longer feel like that panic, like where it's like all or nothing. And if I have one bite of a Carmelita bar, I'm okay with one bite. I don't have to eat the rest until I'm sick. And that is definitely progress for me.
Yep.
Is there anything you want to share?
I went through the same thing. Sweets is my downfall. And if I had a bite of a cookie, I had to eat the whole cookie and then I had to eat the box. And so I went through the same thing. And after I had my son, I couldn't lose my last like 20 pounds. My body's used to being bigger. I used to be a lot bigger. And so losing that baby weight was really hard for me. And I didn't know how to lose it. I thought what I was doing was right. And so I ended up getting a coach. I had a Olympic lifting meet that I wanted to do. And so I needed to get down to a certain body weight so that my lifts seemed big in the body weight that I was doing. And so I didn't know what to do. So I got a coach and she helped me drop where I needed to be. And then I just kept going with her because I started feeling really good. My workout started feeling really good. I noticed all of a sudden I became a runner. I never was into running, cardio, anything like that. I was always slow. And then all of a sudden it just started, my body kind of clicked. I felt healthier. I felt better. And, sweets, I don't have temptations. I go to Crumble and I buy Crumble cookies and I cut them up and I put them in my freezer and I eat them when I want. Like I eat a piece here, I eat a piece there, and it's not a big deal. And it's nice to not obsess over what I'm going to eat or what I just ate. It feels good to eat a bite of a cookie and not feel guilty for the rest of the night or feel like I need to go run off that bite of cookie that I had. So it's freeing almost.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Awesome. Okay. Sorry guys. I'm going to have to flip back and forth. Where'd that go?
Is it that one?
Yeah,
No.
but I need
the notes.
How do I get out of this?
Can you click on this? Or up here, click that one.
We're amateurs.
Oh,
one of you guys is like really good at this and knows exactly what to do.
Sure. Do you want me to just
Hold
pull
on.
it from my phone?
Yeah, that would actually be awesome. Sorry. Nope, that's not it.
I'm sorry. Here we go. That's not the right one. I'm so sorry.
Did I text it to you?
No, you emailed it to me.
Oh, wait, hold on. I think I have it. Yeah, I did.
Okay.
That is so weird. Like I have all the slides, but my notes are gone.
Next time we'll set up an iPad and have it a little more
Sorry.
ready to go. I don't know why it's not working.
I don't know either.
There's the view options above.
On this one?
Yeah.
That's probably, never mind. Sorry.
Oh, wait. Hold on. What's this down here? Oh,
No,
shoot.
that's on
No,
the
that's
video.
not it. Gosh dang it. Sorry, guys. Oh, there we go.
Did you get it? Okay.
Open speaker notes. So, Chris, now what do you see?
I see your speaker notes.
Oh, sorry, guys. That's what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Here we go. That's what we're got to deal with today. Sorry. Okay, so like we said before, we've tried all the diets in, well, a lot of them. It started with Body for Life. If you guys are old like I am, you know what that is. Body for Life was the first thing I did to kind of like kickstart my weight loss journey. This was before I had kids. It worked pretty well. It was just basically like the balanced plate method. And then I moved into isogenics. Maybe some of you guys have done isogenics before. It was terrible. Hated that. And I know that that's still kind of popular, but I feel very strongly against isogenics because it's very, very restrictive. And then I've done Herbalife, I've done Advocare, I've done The Biggest Loser, crash diets, I've done paleo. What are some of the ones you said you've done?
South Beach diet. I did that one for a while. Paleo, vegan.
Oh yeah, we've done that.
Yeah. My husband and I did P90X. And so with P90X, if you got all the tapes, you then got like all of their nutrition plan. And we did P90X and their nutrition plan. And so with their nutrition plan, you don't really track. You can kind of loosely track. So I would document like in a journal, everything that I ate. And my protein, I think I was eating maybe 100 grams of protein. The lowest my carbs got was 20 grams of carbs. And I couldn't eat any more than like 20 to 30 grams of fat.
Oh my gosh.
I was like around 2 o'clock, I would feel like I needed a nap and I would get really lightheaded and, yeah. So
crazy. I hate to admit this, but at one point I followed an 800 calorie a day diet for 2 weeks. And I was CrossFitting. It was terrible.
Oh yeah.
Don't do that.
No.
It was terrible. So guys, we've been there.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about some signs of under eating. But first of all, we're going to talk about the metabolism and why it's important to fuel our metabolism. So a lot of you guys have done the body scans with us before. And on that body scan, there's a number and it's called BMR. It's our BMR number, which stands for basal metabolic rate. That is how many calories our body burns at rest. So that number is based off of how much muscle mass, the body composition that we have. So the more muscle mass you have, the more, in fact, I think I might have one in here. The more muscle mass you have, the more, the higher your BMR. So, okay, this one's mine, so it's okay to share. So you can see that my BMR is 1663, and that's based off of muscle mass. So as my muscle mass increases, so does that number. So what that means is I never want to eat below my BMR because then our metabolism starts to slow down and it stops working for us. And that's what was happening when I was crash dieting is it worked initially, but most of that weight that was coming off was water weight. And then, all of a sudden I stopped losing weight and I was frustrated, and it was because my metabolism had slowed down. So we're going to talk about some signs for that. So you guys have heard calories in, calories out. Well, it unfortunately is not that easy. In fact, something I've said several times is, man, I wish that our bodies would only be hungry when we had burned the calories that it needed, and it would be full when we had eaten the calories we had burned, and it would just stop.
It would be way easier.
It'd be so easy. Like, well, who screwed up that plan?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's unfortunately not as easy as calories in, calories out. Otherwise, my client who was eating hardly anything should have seen some weight loss, right? But she hadn't. And it turns out that there's more factors that are involved with that. So we're going to talk about some hormones. First of all, the first is your appetite is something that you're going to pay attention to, obviously. So factors that influence your energy intake are your appetite hormone. So there's two hormones we're going to talk about. That's leptin and ghrelin. So leptin is a hormone produced by our fat tissues that signals to our brains that we are feeling full. Ghrelin is released in the stomach, which is called our hunger hormone, to tell us when we are hungry. And the way I remember that is ghrelin sounds like
your stomach's growling.
Yes, it sounds like growling. So ghrelin is what's telling us that we need to eat. Leptin is telling us that we're full. So this is important because when we drastically decrease our calorie intake, it affects our body's hormones, and ghrelin will shoot up, which makes us feel hungry all the time. But eventually our body stops making that ghrelin because it's protecting itself from not eating, from not starving. And so we stop feeling hungry. So that's a big sign that we're under eating, is that we can go, half the day without feeling hungry. If you're waking up hungry, that's a really good sign. That's actually one of the signs that I have my clients look for when I'm trying to reverse diet them and get them in more calories. Is if you're going to bed slightly hungry and waking up slightly hungry, that means your metabolism is starting to wake up. So if you think of your metabolism as like a furnace or fire, we want to fuel our metabolism, and those logs are our food. And if we don't put logs on our fire, our metabolism isn't going to burn. And so we have to constantly add fuel to the fire so that our metabolism burns nice and strong. If we don't do that, it's really going to make losing weight a lot harder. So there's a few factors that may influence the energy output. So first of all, we talked about the BMR, and that's just based off of if you laid in bed all day long. But then we also need to take into consideration the physical activity that we're doing in a day. So, before you started CrossFitting, and you weren't working out as much, were you as hungry? Or do you feel like you're more hungry now that you?
I'm way more hungry now. And especially being a mom too, because working out, you work out and you get that workout in, and then you go home and you clean the house and you chase your child and you go to the park, and especially as I have just one child, so I'm his playmate. So we go swimming and we go to the park, we run around, he wants to ride his bike, so then I walk the dog, you clean, do laundry, all that stuff. So your body's constantly burning because you're constantly moving. So and not everybody's like that. Some of us have a desk job and we sit a lot. And so those are factors that we take into consideration when we're helping you figure out how many calories you should be eating. The last thing you need to take into consideration is the thermic effect of food and how much energy it takes to break down the food that we're eating. So those are all calories or energy that we are expending in a day. Okay, so why do calories in, calories out statement doesn't work? So there's 3 signs you're under eating. Then we'll talk about why it may not be the answer for you. So the first thing is if you're constantly hungry, all you can think about is food. You go into the pantry and then it's like you're a vacuum and all you're eating is your snacks, cookies, chips, all that. When really, if you were able to sit down and have an actual meal, have a lunch or have a breakfast or a dinner, and you sit down and you eat a balanced meal of protein, your carbs, some fats, then that way you'll feel fuller longer. Turning to whole type foods instead of snack foods. They'll keep you fuller longer and you'll have energy. You won't have that crash in the afternoon.
Yep. So instead of thinking calorie dense, think of high quality foods.
Yep.
That
Nutrient dense.
Nutrient dense foods
Yep.
that are going to have, that are going to be high in fiber. The volume's going to be bigger. So if you take like a candy bar and think of the calories in a candy bar, and then you take like, you know, a plate of food, and even if the calories are the same, you're going to feel a lot more satisfied and full with that plate of food because the volume is bigger. And so that's something that like, we help you guys come up with a plan to eat every few hours. And I think it was Claudia that said sometimes she feels like she leaves too much food at night. So Claudia, I'm glad that you said that, because one of the things that I've had a couple of my other clients do is set timers on their phone to go off every 3 hours. And it helps remind them to stop. And Brock, this could work for you too. It'll help you remind yourself to stop and eat something, so that you're not waiting till the end of the day and overeating or making the poor choices, because that ghrelin hormone is so high, and you don't really care what gets in your mouth as long as you can satisfy that hunger. And so, you know, that's a very common thing. I see it a lot in men, where you're so busy throughout the day that you forget to eat. Megan sent me a really funny thing on Instagram the other day. She was like, I guess I just forgot to eat. She's like, you forgot? Like, how do you forget to
I
eat?
still don't know how people forget to eat. I'm like, you haven't eaten at all today and it's 5 p.m. How is that a thing?
But that's a huge sign that your metabolism is slowing down.
Yep.
My dad does that. It's crazy. He's like, yeah, I haven't eaten in a week. And I'm
No,
like,
good.
not good.
Yeah.
Like, that's not something you to be proud of.
I kind of went into that one
okay.
too. Reason number 2, you feel moody. If throughout the day you realize you haven't eaten, but then you also notice that maybe a coworker is kind of bothering you, or, you know,
or your kids
are getting on your nerves, or there are tiny little things that you're noticing that is making you feel angry, you might need to eat something. Those Snickers commercials where where the person is like grumpy and they give them a Snickers bar and they're like, yeah, I feel better now. That's what it is. You need to eat something. It's your body's way. You have ignored the actual hunger cues where like your stomach is growling for so long. Now your body's like, okay, I need something else that they're going to notice. So it's going to make you angry. And that's something that you will notice. And you're like, oh, wait, maybe it's been 6-7 hours since I've eaten last. So yeah.
So I thought this was actually really interesting. In 2018, the word hangry was officially added to the Oxford English Dictionary, and it's defined as bad-tempered or irritable as a result of hunger. And we have all felt hangry sometime in our life. Chris knows that I'm not fun to be around when I'm hangry. And my sister tells me, I went on a trip with her and her husband, and she's like, I have to feed you all the time. Like I wasn't the driver. And I'm like, when are we eating again? Cause she's like, we just ate. I'm like, well, I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I felt like a little girl. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
Like feed me. So our mood can change really quickly when we're hungry. And so that's actually a sign that we're under eating, is if we get very irritable and we're moody a lot, it could be that we're hungry.
Yep.
As simple as that.
Reason number 3, stress and sleep issues. If you're feeling that certain issues are stressing you out more than normal, or if all of a sudden you feel like you're not sleeping well at night, you keep waking up, it could be lack of food, not eating, you're going to bed hungry because you haven't eaten enough during the day. Your body's going to wake you up. You're going to feel those hunger pains, and your sleep will feel restless.
Yeah. And it actually messes with your hormones as well. Not getting enough sleep. So definitely something to pay attention to. And that's why one of the questions that we ask, is one of the questions that we ask is if when in your nutrition consult, we ask if you guys sleep well. And it's because of that very thing. Like your sleep is definitely a part of your journey. And we want to make sure that you're getting good sleep, because that can affect your overall body composition. So, so cortisol, that's our hormone that is affected by stress. So it's our stress hormone. And that's why we also ask you about your stress level. A lot of times our stress is caused by work. And sometimes we can leave that stress at work, but sometimes it carries over into our life. And so finding a way to relieve stress in a healthy way, a lot of us will turn to food. And usually it's not healthy food. It's like the feel-good food.
Yep.
And a quick backstory, I didn't even know that I was doing this. In fact, when I hired that nutrition coach, this is when I realized that I was turning to food for to relieve stress. And this was when, so we have 5 kids. Our oldest was 7 when my twins were born. And so we had 5 kids in 7 years. And it was stressful. My husband worked a lot and I was home with littles all the time. I didn't work. I was home. Anywhere I went, they went. It was very stressful, especially if they were all crying. So I realized once I hired a nutrition coach that what I was doing to help relieve stress was I was going to the gas station, buying a Diet Coke and a bag of M&Ms, and I did not even notice that I was doing that until I started paying attention to the food I was eating. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe that I've been doing this for this long and had no idea.
Yeah.
And so exercise is definitely a stress reliever for me. Also just having alone time. So like when my kids were little, that was nap time. Or sometimes if I needed a stress reliever and they were all awake, I honestly would just go in my room and shut my door. And even though it may not be perfectly quiet, it was time for me to like take deep breaths and like calm down and relieve stress that way, because that was a lot healthier way. And it didn't take very long for me to realize that I didn't actually enjoy the stress reliever that I was using with soda and candy.
Yeah.
Once I replaced it, and that's why we talk about those habits, is like not just eliminating habits, but replacing them with other good habits that will help naturally eliminate some of those bad habits.
Yep.
So if you have or are experiencing mood shifts, constant feelings of being hungry or sleep, and stress issues, you may be eating too little. So now let's talk about why it's not always the answer to eat too little. So what happens when we undereat and your body doesn't get the energy it needs? Well, actually, the body will use the fat stores for energy, and that's how people begin to lose weight. But over time, the body will adjust to those chronic calorie deficits or undereating, and your metabolism will slow down, so the body isn't burning energy as efficiently. I had one client tell me that she was trying to lose fat, and so she stopped eating fat so that her body would burn fat.
I've heard that.
Do you guys think that worked? No. So that's like saying, I want to burn calories, so I'm going to stop eating calories.
Yeah.
It works for a short period of time and then it no longer works. And so that's why weight loss eventually stops, because the metabolism has slowed down, and then it becomes extremely hard to maintain your weight. And then eating anything seems to stick to you like glue.
Yep.
And additionally, it also becomes very, very difficult to, if you do lose weight, to keep that weight off, because it's unrealistic to stick to a low calorie diet. You eventually will go back to your bad habits.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So what we want you to do is we want you to think about your current situation. So are you currently, like, ask yourself these questions. Are you currently under eating? Do any of these resonate with you? Are you feeling like you might be somebody that chronically diets or tries new things or chronically under eats? How's your energy throughout the day? How's your energy in the gym? What is it that makes you feel like you're making progress? And I know sometimes it seems counterintuitive to eat more, but that's actually what we're going to teach you guys to do, is eat more food and be patient with the process, and show your body that it's getting consistent fuel so that it can start burning calories efficiently. Okay, so we're going to give you a couple tips on how to do that. First thing we suggest, so when you guys sit down with us for a nutrition consultation, many of you guys are already clients, but if you're not, just to give you an idea of what we do with you, is we go through your typical day for you, and then we help you identify some easy places to change, so it doesn't feel very life-changing. We want it to feel easy. So some of the things that we give our clients are, one thing is to eat half of your plate non-starchy veggies for lunch and dinner. Now, if you're somebody that doesn't eat vegetables at all, that might seem overwhelming. That might be too much for you. And so instead we might say, okay, well, let's try and get in 2 to 3 vegetables a day. Don't worry about the volume. Let's just get in 2 to 3 vegetables in a day. So instead of like jumping to this unrealistic expectation, we are now lowering the bar to something that you feel like you can attain. And if it's not something you feel like you can attain, then we need to drop the bar even more and then just baby steps up. I like to compare it to like if somebody were to come to our gym and they had never touched a weight, never worked out in their life, and I threw them into a class, what do you think their success rate would be? Or
0.
Yeah. What do you think their chances of coming back the next day are going to be?
No chance.
None. It's the same thing with nutrition. We need to help teach you guys meet you where you're at and help you to take baby steps to where you want to be. So eating half your plate fruits and veggies is a really good place to start. Drinking at least 60 ounces of water is another really good place to start. If you're already drinking 60 to 80 ounces, then maybe your goal is to drink 100 ounces of water, eventually working up to 120 ounces of water. But what I don't want is you to go from drinking 40 ounces to trying to get 120, because the chances of you sticking to that aren't going to be very high. If you're somebody that doesn't sleep well, like starting a new sleep routine, setting up a wind down routine at night can really be helpful. If you're somebody that is under eating, like if these are things that you know you're doing, then starting with like maybe setting a timer to eat first thing in the morning, even if you're not hungry. And eventually you'll start to feel those hunger cues. And those are the things that you're going to use to eat instead of like having to go off of a timer. Setting small attainable goals for yourself is going to keep the progress going. Just like in the gym, if you have a goal of maybe someday your goal is to back squat 200 pounds, but right now you're at 100 pounds. Maybe setting a small goal of PRing by 10 pounds in the next 6 weeks. That's attainable. Back squatting 200 pounds in 6 weeks is not attainable. So find something that is a baby step that kind of helps you to move that needle forward without feeling like it's unattainable.
And setting baby steps helps you feel like you're accomplishing something. You have a baby step, you accomplish that baby step, it makes you want to try for the next step, which then makes you want to keep going in order to get to that bigger goal.
Right. Okay, so hopefully we answered some questions for you guys. I am going to open it up to any questions that you guys might have. If there's something we didn't talk about that you are wanting the answer to, please either unmute yourself and tell us, or you can type it in the chat below and we'll talk about it. So the floor is yours. Hi, Pranavi.
Hi, Jess.
Oh, and Jess. Cool. Anybody?
Hey, Tiersa.
Hi.
Hey.
Okay. Did any of this if this resonated with you, if you felt like you are an undereater, will you unmute yourself and just share a little bit with us about that? Brittany, I'm talking.
I'm trying not to be, but I definitely was. When I came to Megan a couple months ago, she's like, you might not be eating enough. And I think she was right. So it was actually really hard to eat that much food though.
It's you got to work at it slow and at a time. It gets easier.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it was super hard when I started. I tracked myself for a week or a couple of days because Tiersa told me to, and I was barely 1,200 calories, and I was doing aerial and CrossFit, and I added a little bit, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, that brain fog, oh, that's like not just normal, and energy, instead of feeling like Megan said, needing a nap in the afternoon, it was amazing, and workouts were a little easier, and then adding a little bit more and a little bit more got easier, but it was hard at first to because I'm like, how can I eat more than these salads and all the stuff that I was already thought I was doing well, and not that I wasn't, it was just I needed more.
Yeah. Claudia, did you want to say something? Claudia, did you want to say something? So I don't want to talk about myself too much, but there's one more thing I want to share. And some of you already know this, but so even though I have come a long way in my nutrition and my fitness and like figuring out what works for my body, earlier this year, I still kind of felt like I was, when I wanted to lose body fat, I was doing it too drastically. And so I still kind of felt like my metabolism wasn't really working for me. So in February, I decided that I wanted to try losing body fat and eating more food. So kind of like backwards, like what I'm telling you guys to do. So I gave myself more food than I was used to eating. And I just, at first I was weighing myself and I'm like, the freaking scale's not moving. And I was so angry and I'm like, stupid scale, like, and it was getting in my head. And I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna stop weighing myself because, you know, I know the food I'm eating is good. And I know that I'm working out and I'm still feeling hungry. I was still feeling slightly hungry. So I'm like, okay, I know I'm still eating at a deficit because I'm still feeling slightly hungry, even though my calories are higher than normal. And so every 2 weeks I would scan myself, and every 2 weeks my fat was going down and my muscle was going up. And I'm like, yep, okay. And so I did that, and I wasn't perfect, but I was, you know, 80%. I had a couple trips in there. So I was like, I did this from February till the end of April, and had a race in there. So I knew I couldn't cut my calories a lot because I was training for an ultra marathon that I had, my first one that I was like, I want to make sure I have energy for. And then every 2 weeks, it just, my muscle kept going up and my fat kept going down. And I'm like, well, but my weight did not move at all. Not 1 pound. I was the exact same weight through the whole thing. And so it was several months. And my body fat dropped to like 14.5, which is the lowest it had ever been. And my muscle mass was up to 75 pounds, which is the highest it was ever been. That was a huge testimony to me that it works. And I had to stop having expectations of how fast it should work. It was just about sticking to the process and letting it happen and not have unrealistic expectation. And that is something that is really hard for us.
Yeah.
To have these expectations is, well, my birthday's in 2 weeks. I need to look good.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Well, I turned 41 in 6 weeks, and I'm like, maybe I'll look great. Yeah. Maybe I won't. Oh, well, it's not really that big deal. We've got a trip in there and I'm going to enjoy my trip. And, you know, like it's not about that. It's about like knowing how to ramp up your metabolism so that it will work for you. So that when I come back from vacation, I know I can like get back to my habits and then weight will start to come off. Okay, we have a couple questions. So Brock said, what meal tracker do you use to track your intake? So MyFitnessPal is my favorite one. There's a couple different ones. I really like MyFitnessPal. With our nutrition program, we use an app to track progress, and it links directly with MyFitnessPal. So I really like that. It has a huge database. It's very easy to copy and paste from day to day if there's certain things you're eating the same day or the same every day.
If you have a recipe online that you want to cook, you can copy and paste the recipe address or whatever it's called, and you can copy and paste it into the app, and it will break down. It'll find all of the ingredients and it'll break down serving size and macros and everything like that. So if you're tracking, it makes it super easy to be able to try different recipes online, and it's great.
It also has a new thing that it does. I haven't used it yet, but somebody I know did. You can take a picture of your plate and it'll like load it. And I'm not quite sure how accurate it is, but cool. You can take a picture of your food, and if it's like separated, it can like load it for you. So Claudia asked a question. I'm not hungry when I wake up. Should I still eat something? So Claudia works out first thing in the morning, 5 a.m. So when I work out super early like that, I don't eat.
I don't either.
And that's a personal preference. Like if you are not somebody that likes to work out on a stomach with food in it, then just kind of play with that a little bit. If you feel really lightheaded or jittery during your workouts, because it is a high intense workout, then eat something small. I used to eat a fig bar or half a fig bar actually before I worked out, but I've kind of trained my body now to not eat before I work out. And that's what I prefer now, only because I would rather eat more food later.
Yeah.
Um,
You could do a banana too, or like a kids go-go squeeze, like an
Mhm.
applesauce squeeze. It's just quick carbs. It'll give you the energy and
if
good
you're
to go.
not going to eat before though, I would highly recommend eating within 30 minutes after, Claudia.
Yes.
Especially if you're trying to build muscle.
Yep.
I would definitely do that. So protein shake and a piece of fruit, like a cutie or a handful of grapes or some berries, something like that.
Yep.
Any other questions? Those are good questions. Awesome. Well, we really, really appreciate you guys joining us tonight. If you have any other questions, you know where to find us. We're happy to help. If you haven't booked your free nutrition consultation with us, please reach out to us because we want to help you any way we can. And we have lots of information to share. We just need to know which information you want. And so the best way to do that is to sit down with us. Let's get a starting point for you so that we can help you reach your nutrition goals. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll probably see most of you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.